Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. If we've never met before, my name is Megan and I work as an onboarding and success coach here at Team Edgar. We are a social media automation tool. If you are part of our community already, I'm sure that we've met before in office hours or in content batching parties. If you're not familiar with Team Edgar, social media automation is just a way that we make sure that you guys are getting your posts out online when your followers are online and make sure we keep you really systematized. But today is not about organic posting. Today is about paid advertising on Facebook and Instagram. And we're really excited to be joined by Claire, who is going to be sharing her wisdom and her knowledge about this area. I don't know about you, but I myself am super excited to learn about this. I am so excited that Anna, Lakesman, Nanette, and Patricia, you've already found the chat over on the right-hand side of your screen. Let us know who is here, where you're tuning in from, and what industry you're in. We would love to connect. One of my favorite parts about doing live webinars here at Team Edgar is the ability to connect with other people in your industry. So if you see someone who's in a familiar industry and you want to connect afterwards, share your handles on Instagram and Twitter and go ahead and make sure that we're making this Team Edgar community even stronger. I am going to shut my mouth now and pass it over because I know you guys are not here to hear me talk, but we'll get into the good stuff now. So Claire, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much for having me, Megan. First off, I love geeking out about the ad stuff, the nerdiness behind it, but I also know that, as soon as you start talking about that nerdery, that people can get overwhelmed. So I just want to let you know, one, I like to break things down as simply as possible. And I really made a concerted effort to make sure you have some real important takeaways today that you can actually use. But also, there's really going to be unlimited Q&A because I got nowhere else to be. So, definitely, if you can hold your questions to the end, that's ideal just to make sure we see them all. But, if you get inspired and you want to pop it in, go right ahead. Okay, let me pull up these slides just to keep me from rambling, which I occasionally do. Okay, wonderful. So welcome officially to Facebook and Instagram ads, a primer on not losing your mind or your money, because both things are bound to happen if you just kind of go blindly into the whole, paying for traffic, paying for reach on Facebook and Instagram thing. So very simple intro. Hey, what's up? I'm Claire Pells. I am from Philadelphia. I live in Philadelphia now. I saw that Clarence in the chat also said he's in Philly. So what's up? I have been doing this Facebook ad thing since 2012 and doing it full time, working for myself since 2014. I do a combo of things. I actually run ads for some clients. I also have a course where I teach course creators and coaches how to get their own ads running. This is really all I do every day. I was just telling Megan that when people ask me about the organic stuff, I use Meet Edgar. That's my organic tool. So I don't know much about that, but I can tell you a ton about the paid stuff. So real quick agenda, just to give us all, an idea of what's coming. First, we're going to talk about the truth about the boost post button. Then I'm going to show you something that I call the ad objective triangle. We're going to see two ads that you can use to grow your audience, but there is one that is far superior, FYI. And then three of the most common Facebook and Instagram ad mistakes. Okay. After that, it's just endless Q&A. You can come with generalized questions. You can come with specific, your particular business. How do I reach this audience type questions? Because I do know that a number of people are always interested in figuring out the right target audience. So, don't be afraid. I'm going to hang out. So let's start off with kind of the most important thing to just get out of the way. And that is why you should never use the boost post button. Here's the deal. Facebook knows exactly what kind of Facebook and Instagram users you and I are. So Megan just popped this poll into the Demio interface. And the question that I would love to hear your answer is, how do you generally interact with Facebook and Instagram ads? Are you buying stuff off of Instagram ads, which is super common, like in the middle of the night? like I do? Are you clicking on links to articles, letting the page load, and then just reading? That's like me and the New Yorker nonstop. Or will you like maybe engage with an ad, watch the video, but rarely actually leave the platform? That's not really how I engage with ads myself. So I'm definitely more in, like the first two categories. So I would love to see, how do you all interact with ads? Okay, so we definitely see some people who buy things directly. What are you guys buying? I always want to know. My most infamous thing was buying a thing that's supposed to help you fall asleep faster. And I bought it at 5 a.m. So, they really knew how to target me. So let's see, anything. Okay. So, Katie recently bought slippers. Awesome. Okay. So another thing that I actually didn't add to the poll is, what about signing up for free stuff? So maybe you're not buying things, but you are getting free, things that'll help you grow your business, a workshop like this, are you signing up for free things as well? Because that is also an important category. Okay. So Melissa's definitely getting some free stuff. Angela used to sign up for more than she did before. Okay. Ashley says guilty as charged. Hey, you don't have to be guilty. It's like, that's what these ads are for, really. Okay. So the reason I ask is because each one of those behaviors falls into a different area of the objective triangle. I get the word objective from just this thing that when you start creating your campaign, Facebook will ask you, what's your objective for this? And one of them is going to be conversions. Another one is traffic. Another one is video views. Another one is brand awareness, right? So whenever you have an audience of people, let's just say women in Philadelphia is your audience, okay? Every single audience basically has a pyramid of types of users. At the top of this pyramid, there are the people who buy. It is the smallest area of the pyramid. Then you have the people who are definitely signing up for free stuff. So that means they're giving their email address away. So that's still considered a conversion, although it is a free one. Then we have the group of people who will like click and go and read, and they'll let the page load and actually spend some time there, but probably won't do anything after that fact. Then you have the people who are just like liking and sharing, maybe watching videos. And then finally, they're just the people who pay attention a little to your ad. Maybe they kind of stop the scroll, or they'll click on see more, that little thing, but they're not doing anything else. So when you are setting up your ad, it's very important that you tell Facebook which section of this pyramid you really want to go after. Because if you don't, Facebook will likely give you a segment of that audience that's much lower on the pyramid than you want. Why? Because that segment is larger. Facebook wants to show your ads to more people. They want you to spend to reach even more people. But in any kind of like paid traffic platform, you are going to have competition. You're going to have other people trying to get also in front of those women in Philadelphia who tend to buy things, right? So if they can avoid constantly bombarding one little group with ads, they will. That's what happens with the boost post button. Check out the objectives that are available to you. So here they're calling it goal, right? The first goal, and this was just a post talking about one of my podcast episodes, right? So the goal is get more engagement or get more messages. The problem is that engagement doesn't actually yield traffic. Getting likes or getting even shares doesn't translate to getting traffic over to my site and people listening to that podcast episode. And later on today, I'm going to show you what metrics, like how to actually look at the reports to determine whether or not these posts that you've been boosting are actually just like, getting you a bunch of engagement, as they say, but not getting you any traffic or not getting you any signups. So that's why we don't use the boost post button, because we're not able to choose that objective. And therefore our boosted post is probably going in front of this lower quality audience, if I can use that expression, which I don't like to, but it's just, these are not the people who are leaving Facebook and going and doing something and further engaging with our businesses. Okay. So any quick questions just around the boost post button? You can certainly take a post from your page that maybe something that's done really well, and then go into the back end and set it up as an ad correctly and choose the correct objective. That doesn't mean, you always have to start from scratch. And I definitely boost, AKA take posts from my page and, turn them into an ad if they've done well. So yeah, Laxman, I would never use the boost post button unless all you want is simply to kind of spread the word about something, but you don't actually want them to click over to your site. So if you have like, hey, guess what? XYZ is coming, but there's no action that they can take now. Sure, boosting that post is probably fine. There are some other downfalls, but if you know how to target the right audience through the boost post interface, which a lot of people don't know how to do, and I never teach it because I don't recommend that, sure, you could go ahead and use the boost post button. Yeah, Corey, exactly. Boosting a post won't help with the actual conversions, but with promotion, it might be useful, especially if it's sort of a teaser kind of thing, but not if you want them to go visit your products or your services or anything. If you want them to come over to your site, you're not using the boost post button. Laura says, boosting an engaging post using a custom audience is fine. Right. Yeah. If you aren't, like, if you don't want traffic, if you just want attention and you've set up your custom audiences, yes, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about the two primary ads to use to grow your audience. I'll tell you right now, one is far superior to the next, okay? So the first one is list building ads. And my guess is you've seen these ads. Maybe you've even run these types of ads before. And all it is some kind of ad that drives people to a freebie sign up page, and then they give you their email address in exchange for whatever the free thing that you're offering is. Now, I lump a lot of different things into the list building category. So it could just be for a freebie that you have going all the time. It could be for a webinar that's coming up next Monday. So, you're running against the clock. It could be for a challenge, for a free training. It could even potentially be for, like a free trial of something. I typically lump those into list building as well, right? This one in particular is one from Rachel Rogers. I am not behind the scenes on any of the ads I show you today, unless I say otherwise, just to be clear. I've always liked Rachel's ads and some of the other ones you're going to see. So this is for, I believe it was a PDF guide. And, it's just sort of like an easy no-brainer. I'm going to sign up for this thing. And then I end up on Rachel's list. She can communicate with me further. This next one is for an actual live event. And this is, it's a freestyle class. In other words, a webinar. And I believe this was a part of Lauren Messiah's launch. Now, just FYI, this is what the same type of ad that you saw here. Let me show you Rachel's again, where it's just a square image. There's some text under it. When your ads are shown on stories with a square image, which is totally fine, by the way, this is how it looks, where, you've got the image above and the text and the colors kind of pull automatically, right? So the benefit of list building ads is that you grow your reach, right? That's sort of the whole point here, is how do we grow our audience and how do we do it on autopilot? So you grow your reach, but then you also get to engage with them after the fact, right? They're getting on your list. Some people are going to unsubscribe. That's the way of things, but you can build that relationship, build the know, like, and trust before you go into a launch or offer your services or have some kind of promo, and then people are more likely to buy. The second type is what I call, Facebook doesn't call it this, I call this a content awareness ad. And that basically means any kind of completely ungated content. For me, and what I highly recommend you do if you create videos in your business, is to promote your videos to these cold audiences. A cold audience just means somebody who has never interacted with your business before. They're not on your list. They haven't been to your site. They're not engaged with your page. So you're promoting your videos to cold audiences. And so people can watch the entire video and you can get data on what percentage of people are watching how much of each video. So I like to do this, especially when I am leading up to some kind of bigger promotion, and like I know I'm going to do a webinar. So I will run different video ads, purely content, purely like this is just about a strategy that I love and is really simple to set up. And I'll do it to the exact same audience. That way I can compare which of these videos is actually getting the most interest, which one is getting people to watch until the end, which is very interesting for me. Jasmine Starr is one of my clients, and we are constantly turning her Facebook Live videos into ads, and we're running them to cold audiences. And that's just to introduce her to more and more people, right? So she'll say, hey guys, I did this live. It's doing better organically than, a typical live. So why don't we turn it into an ad? And we'll put a certain amount of money behind it. We'll actually show it to both cold audiences and warm audiences. So a warm audience is people who are already on her list or people who already like her page. And we do that just to stay top of mind, just to get the good stuff out, because we all know that with organic, there's some limitation to how many people you're going to be able to reach within your own audience. Okay, so we'll do this with both warm and cold audiences. Now, the overall strategy here is usually to retarget the people who have viewed your videos with some kind of list building ad. So if you aren't familiar with the term retargeting, it really just means showing ads to people who have either seen your ads already or have engaged with your brand organically. So a very common ad that I run is just people who have been to my site in the past 14 days. And I say, this is the ad right here. It's kind of cheeky, and I can do that because I talk about Facebook ads is like, hey, FYI, this is a retargeting ad. Do you have this kind of ad going? Let me show you how it works. Here's the thing though. I like this strategy much less than list building ads. It is easier. It's easier to implement because you don't need to worry about conversion tracking. But a lot of people get super excited about the number of views they will get on a video. But those people, like with the retargeting ads, those can be very hard to get to work at a cheap price. So you're paying for people to watch once, and then you're paying to try to get them to join your list. And only a small percentage of the people who watched actually will join your list. So I recommend that you kind of leave this strategy. Don't start with this strategy unless you're just trying to learn how Facebook ads work and you want to try something super low tech. Okay, I actually have a tutorial on how to set up that video ad on YouTube. If you just search Claire Pells low tech ad on YouTube, you'll find it. But don't spend a lot of money there. Okay, leave that for later, when you're trying to do a big launch and spend a lot of money on a webinar ad, for example. Start with list building ads, because even as you're learning, you're getting the people onto your list. You can continue to communicate with them. Whereas people just watching your video are going to be like, oh, that was interesting. Bye. Okay. So I'm going to stop here real quick. I know there have been a lot of questions. I also want to see just if people have any experience running either a list building ad or what I call a content awareness ad. Another really great use of content awareness ads is when you're promoting your own podcast. So that is one that I do spend money on every single month, even though I don't have like a really clear return on investment on that one. Rachel says, so this type, great question, Rachel. This isn't really a type, but the objective is going to be, well, if you're like for my podcast ads, the objective is going to be traffic, and I'm optimizing for landing page views. And if it's just I want them to watch the video, I'm going to choose page post engagement, or you can choose video views. It's about the same. So that's what you're doing under the objective for those types of ads. Okay, Kat has used both of them. Awesome. Okay. Paul says he's used content awareness ads, grew audience to do a lot of crazy people too. Yep. Paul, you really bring up a really good point. I have a student who is running content awareness ads just about her. It's like how to paint or something. It's purely value. There's no pitch. And unfortunately, the vocal minority is talking about how she takes too long to actually get to the point or things like that. Unfortunately, you're also going to get comments on your ads that you should feel free to hide. Feel free. There's no shame about hiding comments, but also know that just the more comments you get, the more Facebook thinks that your ad is engaging. And so your costs are probably going to drop. So that's good. Okay, cool. So let's talk about the 3 common mistakes when running Facebook ads. And I'll be honest, these are not just beginner mistakes at all. The first one is getting sucked in by vanity metrics. And this is sort of what I was talking about when it comes to boosting posts. Now, check this out. Facebook doesn't really want you paying attention to the right metrics. I'm not sure how well you can see this, if you're able to make this full screen or not, but the first box that I have, the first red box that I've surrounded some metrics, I'll just let you know what it says. It says cost per result, and these are posts that I've boosted. Anytime you want to look for a boosted post, you should search post : and that'll pull up all of your boosted posts. And so they're telling me, oh, great, you paid 6 cents each for 3-second views of your video, or on this other one, it was 7 cents each. And I got it like, a bunch of actual views. But then if I look over on the right at the number of link clicks those ads generated, because my ads always have some kind of link in them because I'm running ads for them to essentially go over to my site. I got so few link clicks out of those 3-second views, and one of them cost me $20.08 per link click, and the other cost me $40 a link click, right? So they do not show you your link click and your cost per link click in the ads manager when you first go in. If you want to figure out your cost per link click, then you have to click on a button that says performance, and then you're going to have a drop down, and then you're going to choose performance and clicks. And that report will show you the number of link clicks. But even that number, I don't care about anymore, because it used to be the only metric, but now I want to see how many people actually clicked and let my page load. And that is a different metric. So, you can play around in there with customizing your columns and adding different metrics, but this cost per result thing, especially if you have boosted a post, can be very misleading. Now, if you've set your ads up for conversions and you've got, and you don't commit the next, you don't make the next mistake I'm going to talk about, you should be fine with your cost per result. But anytime you have a post that's talking about, or you just try to get engagement or video views on, your cost per result is not going to be an important metric. So what I want you to be paying attention to is, what is your return on ad spend, AKA your return on investment, right? Now, if you look at the very first campaign here, the first row of this screenshot, you can see that I was getting $10 leads. I was running ads for $10 a lead. And that's expensive, not just for me. But I made more money than I put in because I'm tracking the ROAS, the return on ad spend. And any ROAS that's above 1 means you're getting a positive ROI. Can everyone track ROAS the first day that they start running ads? No. You need certain things set up. You need, basically a way for people to be able to buy from you quickly. You need to have all of that tracking set up. And all of this can be done. But some people, like when I started running ads to build my list, I didn't have a product that people could buy. People could contact me and hire me, but I didn't have any tracking set up for the Facebook ads. So if you're not able to track your website purchases, that's okay. You can pay attention to other metrics like number of leads and cost per lead, and you have to do some estimating. But what I see typically happens with my students is that they start running ads. They see that they actually don't have a clear path to ROI. They set up a clear path to ROI. Then they start running ads in a more serious way. And then they're able to track their ROAS. Alana, am I referring to a pixel? The pixel is just part of it, but yes, for sure. The thing is, once you have the pixel, like me, I had the pixel in place from day one, but that didn't mean that I had a course or anything that people could buy from me any day. I used to just do launches, and now I have things that people can buy from me every day. So if you're just doing launches, you're probably not going to have the ROAS metric when you're just running list building ads, but probably when you're actually in launch mode, if you've set that up. Okay, so that's the first mistake, is paying attention to the wrong metrics and giving Facebook your money because you're like, oh, well, 1 cent view or even a 1 cent click, like that sounds great to me. The second thing is sort of what I started to mention here, which is incorrect conversion tracking. Okay. If you're running a list building ad, this is what you will see when you set up your campaign. Okay. Or something very similar. Everyone's interface looks a little bit different. It's ridiculous, but you will see something where it asks you for your campaign objective. And again, this is for a list building campaign. Make sure you choose conversions. Okay. This is at the campaign level. Then at the ad set level, you're going to leave your conversion event location set to website, and then you need to choose a conversion event. Now, what I have chosen here is called a custom conversion, which I set up. I told Facebook, hey, when people land on this URL, it means they have converted. It's a free conversion. They didn't give me any money, but this is the page that marks a conversion. What I see a lot of people do is accidentally tell Facebook that their sign up page is the page that marks the conversion. Now, if you show me an ad for a free guide to choosing a color for this wall, and then the ad sends me to your sign up page, I haven't signed up yet. So if that page is the one that you tell Facebook, this is the conversion page, then Facebook is not going to be able to find the right people for you. You need to tell them, no, it's a page when Claire signs up, she puts in her email address and then gets to what I call a thank you page. The thank you page is the thing that triggers the conversion in Facebook's eyes. Okay. So if you're like, what is she talking about with custom conversions or, pixel stuff, you can just Google Claire Pells Facebook conversion tracking. And you're going to see instructions on setting up your pixel and your custom conversions. Now, I have guides, blog posts, videos for WordPress, Squarespace, and lead pages. If you don't find something found by me, go to YouTube and say, Facebook conversion tracking Kajabi, Facebook conversion tracking, Wix, whatever, and you will find instructions. Worst case scenario is you go back to whatever tool you were using and you say, hey guys, how do I set up Facebook conversion tracking? And they're probably going to have instructions for you. And if they don't, then it's a terrible tool. So just stop using it, because this is basic at this point. Okay. So just to refresh this, the conversion event, your custom conversion that you're going to set up, needs to be done on your thank you page, not on your freebie opt-in page. Okay. So the third mistake, and this one is just sort of like a general thing that you're going to have to get used to over time, and you're going to go back and forth about whether or not you should commit this error, is focusing on testing creative instead of audiences. We got a lot of questions for this particular training. I get it all the time from my students, from prospective students, from everybody who say, how do I target this one audience? But I want you to get out. I want you to remove from your head this idea that there is only one way to target the people that you're trying to reach. Okay. There's actually a lot of different ways. And I would rather you focus on different ways to reach the same people, because some ways are going to be cheaper than others, than finding one correct audience and then trying a bunch of different images, a bunch of different copy. Yes, testing images and testing copy is important. And Facebook has this cool tool called Dynamic Creative, which lets you do it really easily. But what is a little bit more of a challenge, so it takes, it takes some attention to actually set this up, is to test audiences. And I like people to test a lot of audiences before they change up the creative. So let me just give you an example of how that's going to look. This is for one of my client campaigns. We were just driving people into an opt-in. I don't even think this is for a webinar. I think it's just a free opt-in that she has. So I had one campaign going, I think this one is still going, one campaign going that has 2 audiences in it. And each audience lives in an ad set. So you'll see Facebook talk about ad sets. And so one of them, I just literally used business page admins. I think you can just say Facebook, or business page admin, if you type it into detailed targeting in the audience section. And so I'm literally targeting all of the business page admins on Facebook. And then I think I narrowed that down by location, age. I don't think we do gender here. And then in another audience, I'm really trying to go after the same people, but just seeing, will Facebook give me cheaper or better results if I come at it at a different way? So I took the interest, because you can really target people by their interests. Not every single one on the planet, but many of them. By entrepreneurship, which is a giant interest. And then there's a button that says narrow further. And then I put, they must also be interested in social media. Okay. So entrepreneurs who are also interested in social media, that is another audience. Do you see how there's probably a lot of similarities between business page admins and entrepreneurship plus social media? That's totally fine. I'm really going after the same group here, but I'm trying to see if one path is going to be cheaper and therefore better for me. What you can see here is that Facebook went and spent most of my money on just the second audience, because that is obviously the audience that's getting cheaper results. Check that out. $2.32 a lead for almost 1,000 leads compared to $3.43, right? So Facebook will continue to spend a little bit on the other audience. They always will. But they're spending most of my money and focusing it on this entrepreneurship plus social media audience. And that's fine with me. Another way that I did this is for one of my own campaigns, is by choosing different lookalike audiences. Now, if you're not familiar with lookalike audiences, they basically, you tell Facebook, hey, I have this group of people. It's like in one case, it'll be my email subscribers. I upload a CSV file. In another case, it's, oh, people who landed on the thank you page for this masterclass. That's going to be another custom audience. People who have viewed any of like my funnel pages in the past 180 days. That's another custom audience. I tell Facebook, go make lookalike audiences out of these guys. And so they do. And what that means is Facebook looks at my custom audience, my like people who have signed up for my masterclass in the past, 60 days. And they say, all right, what are the attributes that these people have in common? Let's go find more people like that. And so they go and they create an audience like that for me. Now, how similar are they? I have no idea. In what ways? We also don't know. But I find that for almost every client and every student, either lookalike audiences perform better or interest-based audiences perform better. Lookalike audiences tend to perform best for me, whereas the client whose ads I'm running right now, she almost always does better with interest-based audiences. It's kind of a crazy thing. But again, we're talking about different pathways to reach the same people. So here I just put 5 audiences in. I said, Facebook, you decide how to spend it. And then as you can see, Facebook spent most of the money on the one at the very top, which actually didn't get me the cheapest results. But trust me, I played around with some minimums and maximums here. So I do know that this is actually the best performing audience over time. Cool. So again, I'm not worried about audience overlap, just cost per result here. So what I recommend is that before you go and say, I need to write new copy, or I need to create new images, or I need to hire somebody to, create this for me, test your ad image and copy combo in 5 different audiences before switching up the creative. So those 5 audiences could be 2 lookalike audiences, 2 interest-based audiences, and, 1 like general women in Philadelphia, something like that. Or, like I actually have ads running for one of my clients now, which is just women ages 25 to 45. And because she has a pixel that has so much data on it, she gets so much traffic, we spend so much money on ads, Facebook is actually able to find the right people in that massive audience for her. And not everyone is going to have a pixel with so much data on it, but just because you don't have it now doesn't mean you won't in the future. It just depends on how much you're spending in ads, essentially. Okay, so like I said, you can certainly try out new creative, and I recommend that you do, but I want you to do this test of looking at different types of audiences and comparing the metrics before you just like abandon ship on an audience and start changing up the creative. Okay, so I know that there are a lot of questions about targeting, and I'm super happy to talk about them right now. But if you kind of want an overview of how this interest-based targeting thing works, I highly recommend that you just grab this PDF guide of mine at clairepells.com/240. You're also going to get a swipe file of interests that I have compiled that you can test out. So if you're like wondering, well, what kind of test should I run to create those 5 different audiences? That's a possible resource for you there. Cool. Okay, so it looks like, oh yeah, Megan has tagged a lot of these things as questions, so that's perfect. I am basically going to stop there in terms of, content, and then we will just get into all these questions. Oh, okay, I see that
little question mark there. Perfect. All of the ones. Perfect. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So, Shivraj says, okay, sorry if I have butchered anyone's name. Is list building typically cheaper because you're targeting a little lower in the funnel? So, cheaper, I'm not sure what you mean by cheaper. Like if you mean cheaper than going straight for the sale. If that's what you mean, then yes, definitely. It's almost the very top of the funnel. The videos, the just like pure content would be top. And then it would be list building, come get on my list. And then there are other micro conversions until the sale for sure. But list building is not necessarily cheaper than content awareness ads. In fact, most of the times your like cost per video view or cost per click over to your podcast episode is going to be less than your cost per lead. But to me, it's actually much higher quality because then you've got them on your list instead of, oh, this person watched 100% of my video, but I don't know, I can't actually target that one individual again. And if they didn't come and sign up for my free thing, then they're lost to me. So let me know if that answers your question. I'm happy to give more details. All righty. Lucy says, just curious, do they notify people that they're going to go onto their list? I'm always wondering about FCC regulations. So right now, like especially post GDPR, pretty much everyone's opt-in page has to say, it has to have like a checkbox or something, or the privacy policy that says, this is like by signing up for this, you're going to get X, Y, and Z. So yeah, you definitely want to have that in place. You could also have the double opt-in. So I know a lot of email providers recommend that, and that also will cover you in terms of FCC. But I'm not a lawyer. Okay, so definitely, the thing is running ads for an opt-in is the same as having an opt-in organically. So if you comply with just by having like some kind of list building thing where you have the, hey, you're going to get marketing emails or other emails from us and you agree, then you're fine with ads. Is this only for boosted posts or all ads? I'm not sure what this is referring to. Let's see. I know we were talking about at like 224. Let me see. Oh, okay. So just kind of my guess is this, we were just talking about different types of ads. Well, so boosted posts and ads are the same things. They're all ads, right? It's just sort of the way that you would go about them. So what I was talking about, how when you boost a post, your only chance is to have like more engagement or to get messages, then that is for boosted posts only. But if anything that I was talking about in terms of these are the types of ads, these are the common mistakes, things like that, those go for boosted posts and regular ads. Okay. Shivraj says, what if you have a pop-up email sign up? So that means I like go to your site and then you have a pop-up there that encourages me and you don't have a landing page. Actually, so long as you have a thank you page, then your conversion tracking is going to be fine. But in terms of like the actual strategy, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. Just go ahead and put like the full, oh, I see the question. Would it not be possible to have a custom conversion for that? No, it is, but you need the thank you page. What some people have, and this will be on a pop-up or on a landing page, or an opt-in page, is I put in my email and the box just changes and it says, great, you've all signed up. You cannot have a custom conversion with that. You need to set things up. If you want to track with custom conversions, which I recommend, you need to set it up so that people get redirected to a URL that basically the only thing there is, great, you're all signed up, go check your email. Don't put more content on that page. You don't want people to save that page and come back to it, because that could trigger more conversions in Facebook's mind and tell Facebook that you've had more conversions than you actually do. So to sum that up, if you have something where I sign up on your site, you must redirect me to another page that has a unique URL, and that URL is what you're going to create your custom conversion out of. All right, cool. Okay, great. So a question about promoting podcasts. This is actually one of my favorite content awareness ads to do. So let me see. I could probably share my screen, but let me see if I can open it up real quick. Basically, what you could do one of two things for your podcast. You can either promote a single episode, and you send people, I recommend you send people to that episode on your site, not to iTunes, not to Spotify, simply because there's a lot less tracking that's going to happen as a result of that. Let me just see if I can preview this ad and then share my screen. Yes, so that is loading. Let me get rid of some tabs here. Alrighty. So this is a perfect example of like how I boosted a post. Oh no, this one isn't the boost, but it's fine. So let me share. Okay. So, thank you for your patience. Here we go. Hopefully you're seeing this ad of mine where it says things are going to be very different now. I'm just going to check back in. Okay. Right. So this is literally just a post that I put on Facebook about one of my podcast episodes. It was one that really, really resonated with people, and I just turned it into an ad. I went into the ads manager, I chose my audience, and this is like a little video where it's actually a quote from the episode, one of my biggest guests. So this one just got a lot of attention, and I'm literally just running it. My objective is traffic. My conversion event is a landing page view. And I'm just putting, like, I think right now I'm putting about $30 a day behind it to different audiences. So that is one type of ad. Then the other one I do, I'm actually not going to show it simply because it's going to take a long time to load. But the other one is a carousel ad. You know, the ads where you can kind of scroll through to the right and you see like different shoes or pants or whatever. Well, I actually show people different episodes of my podcast. I call it the Choose Your Own Adventure strategy. And if you search for Choose Your Own Adventure on YouTube, Choose Your Own Adventure Claire Pells, you're going to find that video and you're going to see the podcast carousel ad. So that is just one of my favorite because Facebook will move different episodes around in the order of the carousel, depending on which ones people are clicking on the most. So that's one way that you can, two ways actually that you can promote your podcast episodes, either individuals or like as a series, or just, choose your own adventure, choose which podcast episode interests you the most. And the only thing is, the only metrics you're going to get from that are how many people landed on your page, not how many people actually downloaded, how many people listened. And even that data, like I've tried to compare it to my data in Libsyn, my podcast host, doesn't really help. But I actually, because I have an evergreen funnel set up, I have ads in my podcast, I can actually see the purchases that are made as a result of that podcast ad. So for me, it ends up, that's an ad that breaks even for me. I don't make additional money on it, but I promote my podcast for free, which is rockin'. Okay, cool. So Greg asks, do you run those two audiences simultaneously? Yes, I do. So when you are setting up your campaign, there is an option to choose campaign budget optimization. And that means you set your budget at the campaign level, and Facebook is basically going to start running your two audiences against each other like neck and neck, but very quickly in Facebook's eyes, a winner will emerge. And then they're going to put all your money behind the winner and very little money behind the other one. Just because Facebook has chosen a winner does not mean you should turn anything off. Let the winning ad run. Okay, so that's campaign budget optimization. And I did see there was another question. Somebody asked, did you set this up as an A/B test? No, I didn't. I just used campaign budget optimization, setting the budget at the campaign level. And I put the two audiences inside one campaign, and I basically let them fight it out, and Facebook chooses a winner and spends all the money there. Okay. So PP asks, sorry if this has been covered. It hasn't, but I've heard Facebook ads have decreased in price as a result as much as 30% since COVID. Are you finding that's the case? 100%. It's actually pretty crazy right now. The costs I'm seeing for my own business, for my clients' business, for my students' businesses. Really the change is actually, the biggest change is simply more people are on the platforms, Facebook and Instagram, more time. So that means how much Facebook charges you to get in front of people has gone down because there's suddenly more people to show your ads to. Other smaller factors are that basically some businesses, like think about all the businesses that are really hurting right now, they have stopped spending because it doesn't make any sense to promote a restaurant or something. So that basically clears out the field in terms of competition. And again, your costs go down. One thing that I've seen for some people, not my own ads personally, but I think that's just my top, like Facebook ads about Facebook ads for some reason, very, very difficult to run. But people are clicking on stuff at a higher rate, probably because they're on their phones. They're looking for something to distract them. This is what we saw, especially in the first couple of weeks where it was just like madness, you know? But so anything that can really provide true value for people, either distract, entertain, educate, or all three, people are clicking on and signing up for at a high rate. What I'm noticing is that targeting guide that I mentioned earlier that we linked to, people are signing up for that kind of at a normal rate, what I'm seeing. But then on the thank you page, there's a, hey, do you want to watch this masterclass? And people are signing up for that at a crazy rate. And that's the thing that puts people into it, like gives them a special offer on my signature course. So I'm seeing more sales as a result of that, right? So no real change on the front end, but I'm noticing a bigger change in the back end. Alrighty. Carol asks, so your third audience there got the cheapest per result. Would you turn the others off or go for the one with the most results? Great question and very, very difficult to answer or even to deal with. So what happens is, I call this like the survival of the fittest Facebook ad. There is a reason why Facebook will spend more on something that's not doing as well as other things. And the reasons could be simply the audience is larger. People are clicking at a higher rate, even though maybe that audience is more expensive. So we try to look, but what I never do is turn things off. I let Facebook continue to do its thing to let the algorithm work. And if I really want Facebook to push some money behind an audience that I see that's doing better, you can add spend minimums. So I think on some of those, I added a spend minimum, but then I saw the costs go up. Sometimes things are cheaper for a reason you don't know about. And that when you try to push more money behind it, costs go up. So you could play around with minimum spends inside an ad set, or you could simply put that ad set in its own campaign and say, hey, Facebook, here's $20, $50, $100 a day just for that. I want to know what happens when you just target those people and you don't compare it to these other audiences I'm doing. Okay, when it comes to the image and copy, do you have any tips for what performs best? So I mentioned dynamic creative, which is just this thing that you tick the box or you toggle the thing in the ads at the ad set level. And then over in the ad level, you can put in up to 5 images and up to 5 versions of ad copy and let Facebook mix and match. I recommend, and I've heard this from Facebook, is to not do more than 3 versions of images, 3 versions of ad copy, and really 2 of each is better. So no, there is no real, like, this works better, Samantha. So what we do is we try dramatically different things. That means I'll do like a long story-based copy and then something short and sweet that just says, this is what this is, like free masterclass on Facebook and Instagram ads. Here's the link. Or, something else that's supposed to like grab their attention with a hook and then draw them in. That's going to be my longer version. Images, I will try things with like my client's face, no text on it, my client's face with text, or my client's face and some kind of, pretty stock image. Anything that is simply, it could either be appealing to the eye or grabs your attention. I remember running ads for this one company where we tested and tested and tested, but the best performing image was the ugliest thing you've ever seen. But it was a person who was clearly really, really stressed out. But it was just like colored very strangely. I never thought that would work. So that's why whenever my students say, hey, can I get feedback on this copy or image? I say, no, you have to bring me data first, because what I think doesn't matter. It's what your target audience responds to. But also, Samantha, one thing to point out is that your image doesn't always have to be directly related your image doesn't have to be directly related to the thing you're talking about. So right now there's another Facebook ads guy who's running an ad. I don't even know what the text says, but the image is a close-up of a woman with bright and yet like subtle makeup. What does that have to do with ads? Absolutely nothing. But it is attractive and it is eye-catching, and my guess is it's probably working. So that's just like one thing to keep in mind is you can look at free stock images that have bright backgrounds and try things like that. You can use images of yourself or of your products, but definitely make sure you're testing, and don't test a subtle thing. Okay. Test a dramatic difference. And if you are interested in like how to write that long form copy that I was talking about, I'm pretty sure you can I have a template for that, ad copy template. I'm just putting that into the chat. So that might be helpful just in kind of learning to write that more like story-based or attention-grabbing copy. Okay. Sorry, I lost my place when I put that in. Juliet says, are these guidelines the same for e-commerce? Well, the image and copy stuff, that is definitely the same. The conversion tracking is more important for e-commerce than anything else. The types of ads are different. You will probably just be running ads directly to your products. Trying to think. The most important thing with e-commerce is getting your conversion tracking set up correctly. And then you're just going to try a bunch of cold audiences. You can try warm audiences first. Like, okay, people who have visited your site or added things to cart recently, like just try, hey, like, did you forget to complete your purchase or something like that? But most of your sales are going to start with cold audiences, driving them to your site, getting them to check out your products, and then retargeting. Are there any products right now that you all are seeing the ads for over and over and over again because you went and clicked on an ad? So like right now, the number of breast pumps and maternity leggings that I am getting targeted for right now, it's like, it's absolutely ridiculous because I'm pregnant and doing all kinds of searches and checking things out. And now the retargeting, it's like, okay, guys, I'm not interested in leggings anymore. But as far as your target audiences, that stuff, that testing out of audiences is going to be exactly the same. Okay. Oh, how did I get all the way down there? Okay. Laxman says, should we do a video or image ad or animated GIF ad? You can try all of them, definitely. I tell everyone to start with images if they haven't run ads before. Get yourself some baseline data while you're off creating a video. But don't hire somebody to create a video or spend a lot of time on the video, if maybe nobody's clicking on your ad copy, like maybe if you've got the messaging all wrong. Is there any limitation about ad content, such as can we promote online money-making products? Really great question, Bilal. So Facebook doesn't like they've got to be more comfortable with the work from home stuff, but like basically the make money online, anything that comes off as scammy, like even my ads will sometimes get disapproved immediately. And then I will appeal them. And I'm saying, by the way, if you get ads rejected, be as nice as humanly possible in your appeal. Okay. Don't show how frustrated you are, because everyone and their mother is really frustrated with Facebook. So be the outlier who's super nice and you're going to get better results, FYI. So, any like promises about making, like they shut down the 6 figures in 6 weeks type of thing. So if you want to talk about money, I recommend it being in almost like a case study format. Like this is how I did it. This is how so-and-so did it. But if you do a lot of, you can, make X, Y, and Z quickly, you're going to have a hard time getting your ads approved, or you might get them approved and then suddenly all your ads will suddenly be rejected all at once. That happens sometimes. That doesn't mean that people don't promote things that are related to making money all the time. The other limitations, just since we're talking about that, is like weight loss related stuff, diet. So, again, you can't make claims like 10 pounds in 10 minutes or, anything, or even any number in any number of days. But there are a lot of euphemisms that we use. Sometimes something I've noticed is that there will be some words that will trigger a rejection, like anxiety or struggle. But then you'll see other ads, like just one of my students showed me her ads the other day that are working really well. And they say anxiety, worry, stress, struggle. They have all the trigger words. So it's just a question of trying things out and seeing what gets through and what doesn't. And if you get ads disapproved, don't freak out, but don't keep trying with the same language. Okay. And if you're really unsure about why something has gotten rejected and you want to make sure that you stay in compliance, go into Facebook's chat, which not everyone has access to. It's tough. But, see if you can get like a real answer to say, hey, I really want to make sure that I'm in compliance. I saw that this was rejected and that my appeal was rejected. So, I'm just trying to get more info. To get to the chat, let me see if I can find facebook.com/business/resources. I think should be in there. Or it might just be /resource. Okay. So Laxman says, I'm selling a $3,000 course. Would running an ad to a webinar registration page that then pitches it be reasonable? Yes. That's like kind of what my funnel does. It's not that high of a price, but ads go to a webinar that could either be live or evergreen. And then like what I think is really important in any kind of going from something free to something paid that's a higher price is email follow-up, great emails that both encourage people to watch the webinar and also to buy and to give them a deadline. Now, $3K from ads, it is done. People do sell. Some people tell you that's on the kind of like higher end. So maybe like 2K is almost the threshold. But I mean, it's certainly worth a try, because the beauty, Laxman, is that you have $3,000 to test with. And if you get one sale, then you've broken even. Your goal should be to break even first. That should actually be everyone's goals when they're running ads into an evergreen funnel. Or if you are an e-commerce person and you're just selling products, your goal should be to break even, and then you scale from there. Okay. Don't be surprised if you lose money off the bat. I have definitely spent probably about $10,000 in ads in order to find out how to make my funnel profitable on ads, right? So now that I know, great. But yeah, I probably spent 10K to figure that out. If my target audience hangs out on Instagram a lot, I'm teaching Instagram to them. Should I focus on Instagram ads or do both Facebook and Instagram? This is a great question. So I think there was another question that says, does this all apply to Instagram as well? And yes, everything I'm teaching here really applies to both Facebook and Instagram. Here's the thing. You know how I said early, Facebook likes large audiences to kind of mess around with and find your perfect people? They also like flexibility of platform. So I almost never will say, I only want my ads on Facebook or I only want my ads on Instagram. I will give Facebook all the options and say, go Facebook, you get me the best results. And it's weird. Sometimes, typically Facebook shows my ads the most on Facebook feeds and Instagram stories. But those carousel ads I was talking about for the podcast get shown on the Instagram feed, and almost exclusively, like not at all in the Facebook feed. And I don't know why. So I give them the option. I say, you Facebook, you figure it out. I'm here for the results. Okay. Laxman says, thank you page. Is it possible to filter out your visits to the thank you page so it doesn't count as a conversion when you visit it? No, it shouldn't count as a conversion. Oh, but also, so long as you don't click on your own ad, it won't count as a conversion because Facebook in the reports is only tracking people who have interacted with your ad and then end up signing up. So don't click on your own ad. And yes, sometimes you'll see your own ad, but just so long as you don't click and then sign up in order to test it, then you're not going to have a problem. What is the best way to run ad for workshop next week? So is it a paid workshop, Betty, or is it a free one? If it's a free one, you just send traffic directly to the sign up page for the free workshop. And, you set up the conversion tracking on the thank you page. Like, hey, thanks for signing up. That's your thank you page. You'll use that for your custom conversion. Make sure the ad copy talks about, actually just use that ad copy template that I put into the chat, clairepells.com/ad copy template, because that will help you write ads for anything that's some kind of free opt-in, like a checklist, lead magnet, webinar, something. If it's paid, then Betty, I don't know how much traffic you get or if you have the pixel in place or not, but typically for paid things, I run ads to warm audiences. So my subscribers, people who have visited my site in the past, you can definitely try cold. I'm not sure how much your workshop is, but for cold, what I find is you really need, and you should start clicking on ads that are for products. Especially, I don't know if you guys are all seeing the small, like $27 products. If you'll notice, those sales pages are ridiculously long. They are full of testimonials. They are full of bonuses. And this is for a $27 product because it's hard to sell to people who have never heard of you before. So Betty, if you want to run ads to audiences who have never heard of you before, I would make sure that sales page of yours is like full of testimonials. With a custom audience from a good email list, what do you recommend as objective to select and other choices for retargeting? So Pierre, the retargeting doesn't impact your objective. It's the same thing. Do you want people to watch a video? Then it's video views. Do you want them to go read a post of yours or check out a coming soon or maybe a workshop page? Then it's going to be traffic. If you want them to buy from you, then it should be your objective is conversions, and you choose purchase as your conversion event. Okay. Megan says, how many interests are too many interests? I'm looking to target small business owners in New Jersey and Florida with a lead ad, but Facebook is telling me ad set may get 0 leads. So I'm wondering if I put too many interests. No, too many interests will never get ad set, may get 0 leads. I typically ignore those warnings from Facebook. My guess is that it's either your audience is too small or you're spending too little a day. Give me a little bit more info, Megan, and then I'll come back to you. Okay. I'm a beginner on Facebook ads. What's the minimum budget I should allocate to testing audiences first time if my objective is to increase traffic to my e-com site? And what should the minimum duration of the ad to get conclusive results? Duration should always be 72 hours minimum. And budget per month. So budget is a really, really tricky question. And it's a common one, a very common one. Basically, I am not going to recommend a monthly budget. I would actually recommend a weekly budget. Basically, Facebook says that in order to get out of the learning phase, you need to have 50 conversions. So in this case, this is going to be a purchase for you, probably. 50 conversions in a week in order for their algorithm to truly optimize. They need that data to learn about who is converting for you and to go find more people like that. So you need to figure out what is your cost per conversion, multiply that by 50, and then divide that by the number of days in a week, 7. That should be your daily budget. I have a YouTube video. If you search Claire Pells daily budget, you're going to find it. And it explains this concept of the learning phase and the number of leads. That'll give you a little bit more details, but that is the short answer. So again, your formula is cost per conversion, which you won't know until you start running ads, just FYI. Cost per conversion times 50 divided by 7 is your daily budget for 7 days. Okay. How does this all get up to the top? Alrighty, great. Can you use the list building ad? Oh, sorry. Jennifer says, can you use the list building ad to promote your business even if you don't have a video or freebie to give? Can you use it to promote our company's services? So if you can, I mean, how do you engage? Basically, how do you get leads is the question. Do you want them to fill out a form with more information about them so that you can then contact them? That's also a possibility. But if you don't have like a freebie, the question is, what are they signing up for? A call with you? I mean, really what you need to think about is, how does your business make money organically? How do you get leads organically? What is the path for somebody who ends up engaging your company's services? And then you just kind of reverse engineer that with ads. So does that mean that you're going to just send people to your services page? Maybe. You then can't, you could try to retarget them. But I do know, there are definitely going to be lawyers. I saw an ad about estate planning in this time. It was tough. So that's a service. Maybe I didn't click on that ad, but maybe that was just like, sign up to get our prices, or sign up to, what would the sign? I think like definitely a pricing information is what people want typically. So you can have them sign up for that. You can force them to include a phone number so that you can reach out to them via phone. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily do a formal list, like a traditional list building ad, if you don't have a freebie to give. Okay. Liz says, when running ads for special categories like housing until we set up the leads to be placed in our CMM, we're running lead generation ads. Would another objective be better? So if lead generation ads are working for you, do it. I haven't run a lead generation ad in several years. I have some students who use them and they get great results. Just FYI for people who are wondering, a lead generation ad is like, you don't send them to a landing page. Facebook pops up a form and they fill it. Like, it's actually usually auto-filled. And They submit their info. They don't actually leave the Facebook. Oh no, I think there's a thank you page still involved. Some people have reported that those leads are lower quality because they don't put in their own email address, and the email, like if I sign up for something with the email address that I use to sign up for Facebook, I can't even access that email anymore, but I'm not sure that that's necessarily that you need something else, Liz. If that's working for you, stick with it. Okay. Carrie says, I want to push people to join my Facebook group. Do you recommend anything different for that? All right. So in order to promote a Facebook group, again, this is something you cannot track the results of, but you might be able to see like, oh, I used to get 3 people try to join a week and now I'm getting 30 a day. You have to put a post on your page with a link to your group, like just organically. And then you go and you turn that post into an ad. And I think you need to choose engagement as your objective, I think. So that would be what I would recommend for a group ad. What is your advice for spiritual or woo businesses in terms of ads, targeting, copy, creatives? I don't have any specific advice. It's kind of the same thing that I would say for anyone who's running ads like that are B2B. You write your copy that speaks to your audience about whatever your offering is. You choose audiences based on spirituality. I mean, there's a ton inside detail targeting for you to kind of play around with and explore. A targeting copy. There's nothing specific that I would change for spiritual. Just, make sure you're writing everything for your own audience, which I'm sure you would anyway. Okay. Do you recommend targeting based on lead temperature? Example, add 1, cold prospects, maybe watch a video, add 2, list building, add 3, purchase discount. Where you try to slowly move them up the funnel. Okay. So it's sort of a popular strategy for people with like a lot of ad spend and a lot of offers. But the problem with retargeting is getting more and more and more expensive. It used to be dirt cheap to show ads to people who've recently viewed your site. But like I said, Facebook wants the large audiences. So you can definitely test that, Greg. I have tested it for myself. It does not translate for me. It does not get me higher quality leads than when I'm just going into like direct add to webinar, which goes into the funnel. But definitely test it. Just have reasonable expectations about like your cost per lead at the warm level compared to, what you're paying to get people to watch a video. Laura asked, did we get the third most common ad mistake? The third one is focusing more on creative than testing audiences. I want you to do both, but I say test 5 audiences before you change up the creative. Okay, Laxman says, how much of a budget do you need to start experimenting with ads to actually see results? So that's that 50 conversions in a week multiplied by your cost per lead divided by 7. Yep, Ashley, all of this applies to Instagram ads as well. Amy says, hi, Claire, would your suggestion differ if you're looking for people to visit retail premises in person? Okay, I target within 15 miles, choose gender and then age, then create an appealing set of pics and text. Then they just walk through the door. And am I missing something, do you think? No. Honestly, like if you're just trying to increase foot traffic, you need to let them know that you're there, that you're nearby. You need to maybe continue to change it up. When you have a small audience, like location based, you're going to have to change up your creative a little bit more often. And I think that actually makes sense for, some kind of retail premises. It's like, well, this set of images or this thing that you sell or this reason for me to go in didn't work on me this time. You try something else. This didn't really work on me. Oh, but suddenly the third thing is what works on me for whatever reason. So no, there's nothing you're missing. You don't do lead gen, your list building. You could definitely do like content awareness ads, like what's new in the shop, or check out this, some some places will do like an in-person workshop. So a little video edited together of that, come by on Thursday, whatever for that. Not right now, but in general. Okay. As a newbie to ads and boosting posts, what is the easiest or simplest way to begin and spend? I would say list building ads, but there is some back end setup that you need. So if you really, really just want to get started, try a content awareness ad to a blog post or to a podcast episode or to a video, and go follow that tutorial on YouTube, Claire Pells low tech ad, and that's going to help you with the actual steps to set that up. Catherine says, what is a decent minimum budget per month to start seeing results and for Facebook to adequately learn? So yes, that is it's really all about the learning phase. And I kind of mentioned this before, that you don't necessarily have to spend a monthly budget. Like if the math of that formula tells you have to spend $200 and that's what you wanted to spend in the entire month, then you spend it in a week and then you stop spending until you have more that you can spend. Okay. Like you don't have to spend $200 every single week. But if the math tells you to spend what you were thinking about for your monthly budget in 1 week, do it in a week. That's how that's how Facebook's going to learn. Okay. Shivraj says, we've been spending about $3,000 a month on ads. The agency we're working with can't seem to get above a 1x ROAS. It's been 3 months. Should we have cut and run by now? No, you shouldn't have cut and run before now, but now is the time. Here's the deal. I don't know why they can't get above 1. I don't know if it's your conversion rates. I don't know if it's your audience. I don't know if it's their skills. You could definitely try another agency, or you could try to learn on your own. But what you need to be able to do is look at the results and figure out, and not just depend on an agency or an ad consultant to tell you what the problem is, but be able to see the numbers yourself and make sense of them. Is it that they haven't tested very much? Is it that they've tested a ton and your site just simply doesn't convert, or your click-through rates are low because, and this happens, sometimes what we are promoting just isn't of huge interest to people. But you need to be able to read the results yourself. All right. Deb says, how much is reasonable to budget for a free webinar for a $400 masterclass? Okay. So I have a formula for when you have a ad to a webinar that sells something. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't really matter what the price point is, although that price point you'll plug into the calculator. So go over, Megan, maybe you can type this into the chat, because every time I do that, I lose where I am with the questions. It's just clairepells.com/how much. Okay. And I think you can sign up to get the formula, but there's also a video right there. You maybe don't even need to sign up for it. I can't do the math just like here. I would do it because I love it, but I don't have like all the pieces that I would need, and you know that info. So you'll be able to figure out that formula yourself. Megan says she's spending $200 per month. Is that too little? It depends on what your objective is, and it depends on what kind of ads you're spending on, and it depends on what your ROI is. If it's just $200 a month to kind of grow your, let's say, to spend on promoting your podcast, and your listenership is growing, that's not too much in my eyes. Can you afford it without it having direct return? Not too much, not too little. Are you trying to grow your list and you're spending $5 a day and Facebook says you're stuck in the learning phase? Then yes, it's too little. If you're in that learning phase, spend less in a shorter amount of time to get out of it. All righty. So Laxman says, if I have someone sign up for a webinar and then pitch a course at the end, should I track how many people signed up for the webinar? Thank you, Paige. How many people watched the webinar and how many people bought the course? You mean, should you track in your reports? The only ones that I track is how many people registered. So showed up on the thank you page, landed on the thank you page and how many people bought. Most webinar softwares, well, I guess you could create a custom conversion for showed up if you know how to do that, if your webinar software lets you. I never do that for me and my clients. I'm just how many people signed up and how many people bought. Betty says, how did you do your course library for all your freebies? What software? That is called Member Vault. And I love it. Okay, so the key thing is to find audiences that work, focus on those audiences, then try to extract value from them with different creative until you stop seeing value. Pretty much. The thing is trying the creative and trying the audiences have to happen at the same time. So that's why I say, start with these audiences, do your creative. If you still aren't getting great results with those 5 audiences and this creative, then try different creative with the same 5 audiences so that you can compare. Like, okay, this round 1 of creative got me these results with this audience, these 5 audiences, and then round 2 got me these. So I either improved or the opposite of improved. All right, we're almost coming to the end here. For budget, you recommend to spend weekly equals cost per conversion times 50 divided by 7, but don't you need to run ads first to figure out your cost per conversion? Yes, you do. You do. So that's why, you might start with like 20 a day or 40 a day to get that initial cost per conversion. And then you're going to have to adjust your budget. But yes, you're right. You do need to start running those ads to figure that out. Okay. So those are the questions. Wow. Can you believe it? All right, great. Yes. So Megan, thanks for popping in some of those things for people to check out. I mean, if you have questions, I've got a lot of stuff on YouTube. I have years of blogs. I have a bunch of freebies. So, definitely explore, go through all of that. I have a guide that's specifically for Instagram ads. But there's, again, just for Instagram ads, there's not a huge difference, just a little bit in terms of how you structure the ad.
Awesome. Claire, this was amazing. I myself learned a ton and was taking so many notes. You guys, I know some of you are asking about replays. We are going to put it up on our YouTube channel at Meet Edgar, and we'll send that out here in the next, hopefully 20 minutes or so once it's done processing. So if you registered, you'll get an email for it. If you missed that email, just go to the Meet Edgar YouTube channel and it'll be there. This right here, this featured action item is Claire's YouTube channel. She has so many resources there, so check them on out. You can get in touch with Claire on her website. I know those links have been dropping in. And if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and email support@meetedgar.com and we can make sure we get you the resources if you missed any on here. And yeah, keep in touch with Claire and us on how you guys are doing. I cannot wait to see your success. And we will get that email out. Claire, thank you so much for your time. And as you were reading the questions, I'm sure you missed it. You had a lot of congratulations on your pregnancy. So we all wish you a congrats on that.
Thanks. Thank you. It's quite a time, but it'll be fine.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining, guys. We are going to sign off now and hit us up on YouTube or in the support inbox for Meet Edgar. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.